Welcome to Artistic Shifts, presented by the National Guild for Community Arts Education. We hope that you'll join us on this transformative journey as we explore real change sweeping the nation fueled by community arts education. I'm Quanice Floyd, the Guild's Executive Director, and I'll be your host, spotlighting how the intersection of arts education and community engagement is not only enriching lives, but also paving the way for a more inclusive, interconnected, and liberated society. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Artistic Shifts, hosted by the National Guild for Community Arts Education. We're so excited to have an episode here with two amazing folks. We have Jennifer Ridgway and Devin Walker from the Teaching Artists of the Mid-Atlantic. And so I'm going to read their bios just before we get started. Teaching Artists of the Mid-Atlantic, also known as TAMA, is a dynamic organization dedicated to supporting and advocating for teaching artists throughout the Mid-Atlantic region. TAMA champions the profession of teaching artistry and promotes creative lifelong learning in communities, recognizing the transformative impact that teaching artists have on individuals, local communities, and beyond. Jennifer Ridgway is the president and co-founder of TAMA and a passionate advocate for arts education. With a background in arts administration and education, Jennifer is dedicated to supporting teaching artists and promoting the importance of creative learning in communities. Through her work at TAMA, Jennifer strives to empower teaching artists to thrive as independent professionals while making a positive impact on individuals and communities throughout the arts. Devin Walker is a multifaceted artist, educator, and the creator of The Uncle Devin Show, which is a dynamic musical experience for children. As the teaching artist and the DC director with TAMA, Devin brings a unique blend of music, storytelling, and interactive performance to schools, libraries, and community centers. With a passion for creative expression and lifelong learning, Devin is committed to using the arts to inspire and uplift young audiences throughout the Mid-Atlantic region. Welcome to Devin and Jennifer. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Our pleasure.
Awesome. And so the purpose of Artistic Shifts is really to talk through your journeys and what we would like to see different about the community arts field. And so the first question that I have for you both is, how did your journey into community arts education begin, and what inspired you to become involved in advocating for teaching artists?
I started in college. I took a community service class that was I landed an internship with Kaiser Permanente. At the time, they had an educational theater program here in the DMV. And I interned with them for a semester, and landed my first job coming out of that. And it was a full-time paid position with health care. So that was an added bonus. And, fast forward 25 years, I had left the state of Maryland, where I grew up, to get a master's in theater for young people. I landed a job in Pennsylvania as director of community engagement and worked on I was a benchmarker for the national standards for theater arts in the assessments for those. And I returned back to the state of Maryland, and I tried to get on the Maryland State Arts Council teaching artist roster, and I was told I needed to take some training classes, kind of like beginning level lesson planning. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. And so that really was at that year, I really began meeting up with other teaching artists in the state of Maryland and connecting with them to really advocate for some change at the State Arts Council level. So that's where it began for me.
Okay. And for me, I guess if we're looking at defining community arts in terms of education or specifically catering to a particular audience to be able to inspire, I've always been an artist my entire life, going back to 7th grade, but it really wasn't until about 14 years ago when I understood that there was a need for the work that I do to really focus on children. I've always recognized that we have what is called music adultification, where we force our children to listen to inappropriate adult music instead of age-appropriate and culturally relevant music. So recognizing that at the time that there was a void, I decided to now use my art form to use drums and percussion to communicate and to use it for story time. And and even before I even knew that there was a thing called community arts, it was just something I started doing. And so as I began to really understand this particular community, I realized that I certainly have a place that was open to me. And so for really like the last 14, 15 years is really when I first would say I gravitated toward this field of community arts.
Awesome. Thank you both. And I just want to also add that you all had a phenomenal session at the National Guilds Conference that I sat in on. And so I think that kind of segues into this next question about what initiatives and projects you all are most excited about through TAMA and the work that you're doing to elevate teaching artists in this area. So I'm not sure if these are the same thing, but I would love for you to talk about a little bit of both if you have more than one thing to talk about.
Devin, do you want to start out? I mean, I know that.
Well, I mean, yeah, the first thing is that we have a number of different initiatives, but the first and foremost is to put together an organization that advocates for, that supports the teaching artist. And those that are on the ground level doing the majority of the work. And what we've come to realize is that this group typically has not been organized, has not been, most of us are independent artists, not all of us. Some of us are full-time, some of us are part-time, but there hasn't been anything to really support us from ourselves. There's been a lot of support in other places. So we've come up with a number of different initiatives, including our teaching artist principles, professional teaching artist principles, that helps us, first of all, see ourselves in terms of self-value, how we respect ourselves, but also now as a collective, go to the community and say, hey, look, here we are. This is what we are. We're asking you to embrace us. And these are the principles that we're asking you to review, to give us feedback on, and hopefully to endorse as an organization. So that's one of the projects that we're working on is the professional teaching artist principles.
And in alignment with that, we started in January, we launched an arts admin network work group that specifically, Kalicia Thorpe Price, who's our Maryland State Director, Devin, and myself kind of organized that session, and participants complete an interest form to sign up to participate in it. We take newbies 3 times a year, but we really kind of meet once a month on the last Monday of the month, and we just kind of talk through the issues that they're having with teaching artists, and encouraging them to encourage their teaching artists to sign up with TAMA, right? So that they have a community that really gives them the support and empowerment to think like a business professional. And then because none of us work full-time for one entity, I have like 10 entities that I work for all at the same time. And then 2 is that work group is really dedicated to getting the administrators to really talk through some of the challenges that they are encountering with their teaching artists directly, but then also in their terms of how they advocate upwards to change some of the ways that they partner with teaching artists.
Awesome. And I think that's really powerful, because organizing power to the people is power, right? Like that can help create systems change, which I really love. And so, Jennifer, this question will go to you as the president and co-founder of TAMA. What strategies do you employ to ensure that teaching artists are recognized and valued for their contributions to community arts education? And I think it's really good to get your perspective, because you are the president and you have this whole region to kind of look over. And then Devin, I'll ask you the same question, but just with the DC focus.
I love this question. And I also I think the answer is always changing, right? Because it's twofold. And it has been since day one. And Sue Trainer, who co-founded with me, was really big on saying this isn't something that somebody does for us. We are by and for teaching artists. We are by teaching artists. So, even I used to have the teaching artist / arts administrator. But when I had that arts admin hat on as a teaching artist, I just could not truly do justice and equity to my independent contractor teaching artists. They needed something more. They needed their own community to really be able to realize the equity and justice that they needed and to advocate for themselves. And so this is really for those independent contractors or those part-time employees. So we really have always been moving at the rate of trust that we are building with the community. So it's twofold. We need the members. And then once we have the members, we know what to collectively kind of advocate for, and we get to encourage them to accept their identity as a business owner, which is really hard for us to do, to like let go of saying I'm an XYZ organization teaching artist rather than just saying I'm a teaching artist, or, I'm a teaching artist in this discipline. Or we always are tripped up and connect ourselves to an arts organization.
What you just mentioned is very important. The first strategy that we've come to realize is that, first of all, you have to be dedicated. We are volunteers. This
Yeah.
we do not have, as of right now, we don't have the major corporate sponsorship, though will seek that. But the other thing is, it's one-on-one relationships. It's
Mhm.
taking the time to talk with artists one-on-one. There's no other strategy beyond that works the best so far. But the other part of it is, taking the time to go to different events. Like here in Washington, D.C., I've been very active, uh, um, attending a lot of the events by the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities. Last Friday, I spent the entire day at the budget oversight hearing in Washington, D.C., that was discussing the funding for the DC Commission. And after I testified in the morning, instead of leaving, I stayed the entire day, and just making those relationships with the arts organizations, with other artists, with the council members, makes a huge difference. So the strategy is very simple, is very plain. It just takes one-on-one relationships, and realizing that at the core of everything, each one of us are human, and we have to be willing to deal with that human interaction with each other.
I love that. And that it also, oh, Jennifer, you can go.
Well, I just had that humanist too is really making sure uplifting and amplifying the humanness of that teaching artist. And really, like for this month is May is National Teaching Artist Month. And we're going to amplify a teaching artist in our directory every single day this month. And really then, also connect back to their website, their social media platforms, because that's often something we don't see happen. It's connected to the arts organization rather than that human artist who's actually on the front lines of doing that work.
Yeah, and I love the fact that we're talking about people's humanities, right? And so, Devin, you said you spent the whole day last week at the DC Commission during the hearing, and you're doing that because you know that there's other people who might not be able to do that, right? And so
Yeah.
you want to make sure that you're there to represent the teaching artists and to bring that information back and to educate them, and so that you all can strategize and organize in a way that's most effective for you all. So I love that, because everybody's not going to be able to make every meeting, right? And so, and I don't want to say it's a burden, but it's a good burden to have, right? Because now you have this trust of this community that you've built up over time, to really say, okay, yes, we do need our voices to be heard, right? We do need people to listen to us. And I don't have the time as a teaching artist. Like you said, Jen, you said you had 10 different organizations that you got 1099s for, right? And so to have you all as kind of that grounding for teaching artists is phenomenal, right? Like to have, we know we can depend on Jen and Devin in this area to get the work done for us. And we know that they're looking out for our best interests and they're looking out for our humanity. So I think that's a beautiful, beautiful burden that you all have taken on.
Thank you.
Yeah, and he was there from he called me in the morning at 9 a.m. and at 3:30 when he was getting ready to leave, and he hadn't had lunch.
Okay, but you gotta eat though. You gotta eat though and drink your water. You can't just be at there and not eating and drinking. We need to hydrate. and
Right.
eat
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
organizers.
Even
That's important too.
even Chairman Mendelson, he took only maybe a 20-minute break. So I was impressed that he was there the whole time and was engaging with everyone. So it was a good number of us there. But the fact is, yes, it was a long day, but it was definitely well worth it. And something I said that I'm gonna try to do on a regular basis, maybe once every month or every 2 months, just go down and connect with people and listen and hear what people are saying
And he had over 30 signatures on from all 8 wards of District of Columbia. So yeah.
on our petition to the city to fully fund the DC Commission.
Hmm.
Absolutely. That's amazing. Congratulations. That's really, really great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the work is necessary. So whatever support that you need, just know, like, we got you, right? Like, because that's what the guild is here for as a service organization, is to make sure that we're supporting the folks who are out there on the ground. Like, if you're, I live in DC, so if you're like, Quanies, yo, I'm hungry, I've been out here talking to city council, I'll send you a little Instacart or DoorDash or something. Just let me know. For real, I'm being serious, because I do that for folks. So because we got to take care of our people, people who are, we have to heal the healers. That's something that came up as a theme throughout the guild conference. It's like making sure that the healers, the folks who are doing the healing work, are being supported and understood and saved, to be honest, because we need you, right? It's important. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for that. Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
all of that. And so now we're going to talk a little bit about some of the challenges. And I mean, when you're an advocate, we know that there's challenges out there, right? And so now, what do you both believe are the greatest challenges facing teaching artists today? And how can organizations like TAMA address these challenges?
I think the first thing, if I may, Jennifer,
Hmm.
is we have to change the dynamic, the paradigm or the view of the teaching art. There has been, I'm a drummer, and we get the brunt of all the music jokes out there about, how dumb a drummer is and all that. And it's fun, I get it. But in some respect, the teaching artist is viewed as someone that's not professional, someone that needs help, someone that is going to be late and don't know how to turn in their paperwork. Those are stereotypes that are constantly hurting our industry. Our job and our goal is to change that dynamic by being present, by sharing our information, sharing our 8 principles with everyone. That's the first thing, and then the second part of it is letting people, how do we get this point across without people thinking that we're just attacking? But sometimes that's the only way to get the attention initially. And then we're just saying, listen, we want to be partners. We're not anti you. We're not anti this group or that group. We want a true partnership, but that's going to require many times those organizations to shift
Hmm.
how they approach the whole field of teaching artistry in many different respects. And so, Jennifer, I don't know if you want to add to that.
Yeah, I do want to add to that because I mean it's so layered. Like, we are saying, oh, they're not responding to emails, or they didn't get in their paperwork, but yet it's like this like catch 22, like you're not paying and there's not enough pay, and so I have to carry 10, 20 gigs all at the same time, and like I'm running like a crazy and not getting anywhere and not able, I was just in conversation a couple days ago with someone who the admin wants to have a lot of like meetings, and yeah, you're paying for those meetings, but how much are you paying for those meetings, and what is the actual goal of those meetings? Is that meeting necessary, or is there a trust issue that is signaling a lack of trust about our professionalism and the quality of our work. So that goes back for me. Principle number one is such a big one, is that teaching artistry is an art form, and that artists that pursue teaching artistry are here to strive for excellence.
And I think another thing that we have to overcome is getting artists to see them, to empower themselves and not be afraid that by connecting with others and showing a united front that they're going to lose or not get certain opportunities through arts organizations, retaliation in a sense.
Yeah.
A lot of fear, related to that, and so we're showing slowly that, I mean, to be honest, since I started my work with Tama, I've increased my gross income by threefold.
Yeah.
And so, and I stopped working specifically with certain organizations and work with others. So it certainly can be done. But that's the thing, is just getting the teaching artists now to see themselves as as a group that does not necessarily have to rely on others. We truly can do it ourselves, but we need the support and the partnership of others to really make this whole ecosystem drive.
Absolutely. The collaboration is definitely necessary. And I think that's where we come in, right? That's where the guild comes in our work. How do we partner with you all and then also connect with our membership to make sure that teaching artists are thriving in this sector, which I think
Yeah.
is extremely important for our work. Awesome. And so I'm going to blend these last two questions together because it's all about artistic shifts. And so reflecting on your experiences both as a human and an artist and an educator, and a teaching artist and all of the above amazing people, what is the artistic shift that you personally aspire to see happen in the world? And how does it address issues of equity and justice? And how do you envision it influencing our next generation of leaders?
The artistic shift that I want to see again my genre focuses primarily in the children's realm. For over 200 years, the children's music entertainment has been dominated by stereotypes, racism, all these different things. Just and there's never really been a true um, movement, like a civil rights movement for this particular field. And so one shift that I want to see is that we empower artists who dedicate their art form, whether it's music, art, dance, whatever the case may be, by putting the proper resources in place so that we can reach our children, because we see what's going on right now in the communities. If we don't have these programs, but yet we keep strengthening the police forces, we're just going to see more of our children going, to that whole police pipeline or prison pipeline, and not into, being part of the community using the arts that we have. So I think for me, that's one of the things that I like to see a shift in the arts field.
I definitely agree with all of that. And I think, I mean, I have been in a teaching artist my whole career. I never was interested in like moving to New York City and being on, doing that kind of thing. And great for those folks who want to do that. But that is never me. And, I really want artists to be able to say like this whole hierarchy thing, like that the art in the community is of equal standing to all, and so it embraces the diversity and the all art forms by all ages. And and I just think it would evolve substantially if many of us could with confidence and pride say that we are a teaching artist.
I love that. And so by investing in the arts, that creates this humanistic advancement of the arts as a tool, right? And so, Devin, you were talking specifically around our youth and, living in DC, I've been seeing the vilification happening of our youth, where, if you go to Target now, it says you can't be under 18 by yourself in Target. We just had that secure DC bill that got passed that says that students can't even be in groups, right? Like it's just so fascinating how we're so quick to take away all of these resources, right? I don't know where we are with the budget in DC schools, but at one point they were saying they were taking away 50 million from the school budget. I don't know where that is right now. I think they're still in the budgeting process, but we're constantly taking and taking and taking, especially from our youth, and not giving anything back. And so why are we putting them against a rock and a hard place when it comes to their development in this, specifically in DC? So for folks who are listening, I also live in DC. And so just seeing that vilification of our youth, the adultification of our youth, it's been really disheartening. And to know that there are folks out there like Jennifer and Devin who are really supporting the next generation of youth and really wanting to invest is amazing, but also knowing that we are continuously fighting against this system, right? We're continuously fighting against this policy, against funding, against the lack of access when it comes to health insurance, when it comes to transportation, when it comes to economic wealth disparities. Like, it's really real, right? And so I think that's why this podcast is so important, is because, when I first started at the Guild, people were saying, oh, we should keep politics out of it. But we can't keep politics out of it, because every day people are making decisions about our humanities that is impacting us, right? And the communities that we're trying to serve, right? We can't go in the community and think that we can have an amazing program, but this community just got, they just sold all of the buildings on the block, and now people don't know where they're going to be living, right? And so there's really importance here in this conversation about how do we make sure that we're supporting the healers who are healing, but then also supporting the communities and investing in the communities, and making sure that the arts are used as this tool for that healing process, right? And the arts are used as this tool to amplify the amazingness and the brilliance of the people in our communities.
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of wrap that up in a bow, because that was all I was hearing from y'all this entire time. Because organizing is such important work, right? And I think about Ella Baker, fabulous organizer, who talked about the co-creation, and that we cannot do this in silos. We have to do this collectively. So when there is teaching artists who have concerns at your organization or your institution, we need to listen, right? I'm specifically talking to arts organizations. Like, we have to listen. We have to see what's going on. And of course, arts organizations are also within this nonprofit industrial complex that creates this bubble. And we know we're dealing with philanthropy, and we know we're dealing with all this grant writing and all of these. But how do we make sure that we are uplifting each other in this cause? Because the only way that we can actually move forward is together.
And one of the things, and thank you so much for all of that. Most organizations have an equity clause or person or DEI. And I love that, because one, it's that pretty much is a voluntary process. It's not legal. But another aspect that we need to focus on is something that I'm bringing forward, hopefully and eventually Tama will adopt, is a concept called EEO through the arts. Now, before I got into being a full time into to this field with the Uncle Devin show, I worked 25 years in the field of equal employment opportunity. I did investigations, mediations, training. And one of the things I've noticed once I've come into this field is that there really isn't a space for, if a teaching artist who's an independent contractor has a concern that's based on race, color, national origin, gender, any of those protected groups, we have no rights. We can't go to the EEOC or here in DC, the Office of Human Rights, because we're independent contractors. An employee can go, but we can't go unless we can show, which might, it's a classification issue. We might be able to show that we're being treated like an employee, but then you have to prove that. That's a whole nother level of proving. But what I'm looking to do is to help our community understand the importance of this. We've had several artists get in contact with us to say that they felt like they were discriminated against based upon their disability, based upon their sexual orientation, based upon their race, based upon their national origin. And in every single scenario, they all felt the huge burden on them, and they had no place to go. And so our job is then, whether it's, EEO in and of itself is a law in the United States. That's part of the federal law. You hear it through the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. But even if it's not a law, we as a community should be able to come together and create something using that as a model to say we don't need a law to make sure that we do the right thing. And that's what I'm hoping to be able to bring forward, over the next, several months and years.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that.
Just wanted to say we are very lucky to have Devin within our JAMA community.
Awesome. So those are all of the questions I have. I want to thank y'all, like, from the bottom of my heart. I really want to thank y'all. When I sat in that session that you all had at the National Guild Conference talking about the teaching artist principles, I saw the passion, right? And I saw how dedicated you are to making sure that this field changes for the better. And so I just want to thank you all for all of the hard work that you're investing into this organizing work and making sure that teaching artists are represented. And again, like I said, if there's anything that the Guild can do, please let us know. And also happy Teaching Artist Month. so yes, and so we'll be sure to share this. And I'm just really excited about the growth of this field, because I was really activated in the Guild space too during the conference to see so many people being so open to what freedom and liberation can look like, right? Because we were in a space where there was teaching artists and there was admin and there was organizations and then there was funders, and folks were dreaming together. And that's what I want to see happen more often. And so again, thank you all for the amazing work that you do. And I look forward to dreaming with y'all.
Okay, and we got to give you your props, Quanice. You are a jewel for this community, for our arts industry nationwide now, and even beyond. So thank you so much. Thank you to National Guild for Community Arts Education for being there and being and giving us a platform. One of our principles is to be seated at the table, and that's exactly what you've been doing since you've been in that position. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so
Awesome.
much, Quanice.
Thank you.
You make me cry. I can't talk right now.
Don't cry. But yeah, we got, we got. So thank you all for listening to Artistic Shifts podcast hosted by the National Guild for Community Arts Education. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes with other amazing dynamic people within the community arts education field. For more information about the National Guild, please check out our website at www.nationalguild.org. And to learn more information about the teaching artists of the Mid-Atlantic, feel free to visit their website at www.teachingartists.org. Happy National Teaching Artists Month.